Welcome, everybody, to Strangest Species, Season 2, Episode 18.
Oh, we didn't know last time, so...
I looked it up. Now I know. I am your host, Mike Davis, here with my lovely co-host, Ethne Davis.
Yes. Hello, hello.
Kind of going with an NPR-style approach today.
Are you going to stay that way the whole time?
Probably not.
Oh, good.
So I will put myself to sleep.
Yeah. That's fun. What's also fun is accidentally calling 911 and then alerting your emergency contacts today and then not even knowing how or why from my watch. That's fun.
My watch called 911 on accident this summer.
So
you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
So I was swimming in the river when it called. And I didn't even know I had called them. And then they called me back many times, trying to see if I was alive or not. And finally they left me a voicemail, and I called them back. And I needed to fill like this little online report out that let them know that no emergency, I was still alive. But they wanted the address of where I had called from and all those kind of things. But I literally was just not like playing in the water. I was like legitimately swimming in the river.
Yeah, I remember this. I don't know how you can do this from your watch.
But apparently I have no emergency contacts preset on my phone because when you somehow called 911 today,
it alerted you.
One of your friends and me both got text messages that said, Ethne called 911 from her phone from this location, and it sent me a map of where you were.
Yeah, and it was and it was weird. I was like, yeah, I didn't do this. And it's like they're like they're nervous, you know?
Yeah.
Is she telling the truth? Is she saying that because...
Did dispatch call you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they called me.
And your friend called you to check on you? Mm-hmm. That was nice for her. I didn't call you.
Well, you were with
But I was in the house, so...
Yeah, so... Anyway, that was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah. It's a beautiful fall day today. Beautiful fall weekend, actually. It was great. Soccer and pumpkin patches, and it was great.
Yeah, we did have lots of all those things.
At-home church.
Yeah.
At-home church is kind of fun. We only get to do that twice a year, so I like it.
Yeah. It was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I've been listening a lot lately to this French composer.
Yes, I've heard this.
By the name of Eric, I believe it would be pronounced Satie.
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, you would know one of his pieces. And when I say you, I assume all of you listening would know this piece, which I can't pronounce because it's in French. Eventually, you'll start hearing it.
Why do you think they would know it? This just seems like it's...
I feel like it's a famous piece. Do you recognize it? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I feel like that's familiar, but maybe it's because I just live with you.
Maybe. But so anyways, then I got reading about him, and he was actually quite interesting because he kind of purposely made music that was quote unquote kind of like ugly. Like it kind of as a slap in the face to the other composers of the time.
Weird.
And he would write funny things like, play this song as sick as you can. Like if you were really, really sick.
Don't even know what that means.
Or like you had just eaten a fresh plate of lots of eggs. I want you to play the song in that style. You know, it's kind of like poking fun at, but a lot of his music is, it's good for Halloween because it's very off, like it's a little unputting, I don't know the right word I'm trying to say.
Off-putting?
Off-putting, yeah. It just doesn't feel quite right. It's a little ugly, but beautiful because he was a composer and knows what he's doing. But anyways, so I've really enjoyed just going through his Spotify. This is Eric Satie playlist because it's It's just, I was listening to it as I fell asleep last night, and it was put me in a weird spot that I enjoyed, but it was a little trippy.
Good trip.
I liked it.
Yeah.
So anyways, if you're looking for some classical music, there's a recommendation for you.
Perfect.
Again, with my NPR voice.
Went to Boku Cafe again.
You did?
Yeah.
When?
With Kelsey.
Oh.
Yeah.
The things I don't know.
Yeah. We just got together and I thought she'd never been there before. I thought that might be a fun place to go. And the girl recognized me. It was impressive.
Did she give you free stuff?
I mean, she gave us $1 off.
I know. They always are giving away stuff.
No, just $1 off, which is nice. It was very sweet of her. She does not need to do that. Then I was like, well, I'm going to give you $1 and a tip. So
there you go. Yeah. Maybe that's her trick.
I didn't even see a tip jar. I literally just left it on the till. Like, I was like, I don't know where to put this. So I don't think it's her go-to thing.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
But they are pretty awesome.
They are, and they got good food and stuff.
Yeah, they have really yummy crepes and croffles, which are now becoming the rage. I've seen them now at Costco and stuff. But they were kind of the first I'd ever heard of before.
They got some good, is it Filipino? The plant that's kind of coconutty?
Pandan?
Yeah.
I think it's from I don't know. I just know it's Asian fusion. It's really yummy.
It's kind of like taro, kind of like vanilla-y.
No, it's better than taro.
Yeah, but it's in that same ballpark.
It's good. It's really good.
It was really good.
Anyway.
So, as always, Anthony doesn't know what we're going to talk about today.
Nope, I don't. But I have a really good guess.
Do you have a good guess because you threw my script away?
No.
And you looked at it when you threw it away?
No, I have no idea.
You really do have a guess.
I have no idea what your script is. I didn't know that it was your script. I'm just glad I didn't throw it away.
Yeah.
I just found it and thought maybe this is important and just put it in the container, but I didn't look at it. My guess, though, is something from a war.
A war?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good guess because we frequently talk about things from wars. It's a very vague guess. Like, even if we talked about war, I don't know if I'd give it to you.
But I want to be right.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about war today.
Oh, dang it.
We're actually going to talk about kind of the antithesis of war.
Peace.
Peace.
Okay.
And what comes in times of peace?
Peace and love. Like the 60s. We're talking about something from the 60s.
Nope. Well, yes, but not directly. When you have peace times, then you can have recreational times. You can have easy times. So today we're going to talk about toys.
Okay.
So what were some of your favorite toys growing up?
Well, I really liked my Cabbage Patch doll. But then it was called a popple.
Are those the little stuffed animals that
it would like roll
up
into a ball, and
Yeah.
it could be like something else. And then when you pop it out, it has this cute tail.
Yeah, I had a popple.
Yeah, I really liked popples.
But I think my popple was a hand-me-down popple. So the difference here, you're the oldest. I'm the youngest. So you probably got toys for our generation, and most of my toys were from 10 years before us.
That makes sense. So I remember, though, I had to wash my popple, and it was kind of like the faux fur on like a toque, like on those pom-poms. Once you wash it, it kind of changes the whole, it's not fluffy. And so I remember it getting kind of matted. That's one thing I remember.
Stuffed animals are really gross once they lose that.
Well, just the tail, though. The tail was the only thing that had that like super fluff faux fur. And then the other thing was just like normal stuffed animal. Like it wasn't really affected.
It wasn't bad, huh?
What are some other things I remember? I was kind of just an outdoor kid. I didn't do a lot of like Barbies. I had some Barbies, but I didn't do a lot of that. I didn't do a lot of like My Little Ponies. I did some, but I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, I loved my GT Snow Racer. I remember getting one of those, and that was like the coolest thing that had ever happened. I'm also Canadian, and it's also snowy 6 months of the year, so I used it a lot, I remember getting that for Christmas, and that was kind of a big deal.
So I am not Canadian, but I lived in Canada for 2 years as a child, and we too had GT snow racers.
Yeah, they're the best.
And they were. And we have a one GT snow racer now.
Yeah, I specifically bought it because I was like, this is from my childhood. I need this.
Yeah.
And
they're
kids...
pretty intense. So it's a sled, but it's like a race car sled. It's got skis and a steering wheel.
Yeah, you can
it's
actually steer with like a front ski. And the kids like attach other things to it, and they've tied all sorts of stuff to it. And it's pretty fun.
Yeah. So it's got essentially like 2 skis, and then there's a steering wheel that operates a third short ski up front so you can turn and stuff.
And steer. Yeah, it's not a good landing if you're jumping. It hurts your
they're heavy. So
there's a metal frame, yeah.
If you fall and it's behind you, there's potential it's going to get you.
Yeah.
It's not like
so
a
bad.
disc or
the discs are
tube
terrifying. Like just straight up out of control speed, like National Lampoon's Christmas Story. Like shock or sparks flying. It was just wild.
That's a great movie.
So, yeah, those are some memories that are coming back to me about toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you remember, like, you've talked about lots of Ninja Turtles
Mm-hmm.
and what's the other figures?
Well, my favorite, of all
He-Man?
time were
He-Man?
G.I. Joe.
Oh, G.I. Joe.
But not the big Barbie-sized G.I.
No,
Joe.
just
the
like the
small
smaller
little,
figures.
like 3-4 inch ones.
Yeah.
I had lots and lots of those. So my mom worked for J.C. Penney's when I was a kid. And still to this day, one of my fondest nostalgic memories of Christmas is getting the Penney's Christmas catalog. And maybe the Sears one too. But going through the toys. And there was always, every year there was a collection of like a dozen G.I. Joes that I'd always circle, and that's what I want. And I would play with toys a lot. And our kids don't ever do this. And I don't know if it's because it's just a different generation or because we have 3 boys. And so they aren't.
Well, and they're all close together.
Right. They aren't on their own. I was definitely on my own. I have 2 older brothers, but they're enough older than me that we didn't ever. By the time I was playing with toys, they were on to other things like girls and sports and driving and stuff. So I would play with my G.I. Joes, but I would play with them outside, like in the bushes and in the trees and build forts and bases.
I loved The Little Mermaid, but I didn't have like a Little Mermaid doll or anything. I literally just swam like a mermaid in the lakes.
You still do.
When I swam, well, no.
When we go swimming, you're like, I'm Ariel, and you splash around.
No, I don't. And I would swim like her, and then I'd sing, and I'd go up on a rock and be like,
you don't do that still?
No.
Oh.
So I would but I didn't have like toys of hers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of like more just, I don't know.
But then I did have all of my older brother's toys. So I had lots of Transformers, lots of He-Man. And I'd play with those too. But a little later, I got into what you said earlier, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I love Ninja Turtle action figures.
Were Legos a big part of your life?
Not when I was little.
Of our kids' lives.
They were more of a part of my life, like late elementary into middle school. But I never had a ton of Legos. I had one buddy. You've met him, Jared. He's passed away now. Jared had
all the Legos.
Well, he had many, many, many. Like he was never supposed to live past a couple days, and he had dozens of surgeries. As a small child, he had congenital heart problems. So he couldn't do much. Like he was super little, super frail. He couldn't go outside for a long time. And so, that's what his parents would get him. And he had like every Lego and like thousands of bins of just random Legos.
Miraculously, he ended up living for a very long time.
Yeah, probably
into his 30s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
I've had the chance to.
So I think once we kind of became better friends around that 5th grade-ish is when I was like, oh, Legos, these are cool. But I never had like a ton of them.
Right. Yeah, toys are
too
fun.
Expensive.
Toys are really fun. They're good parts in our childhood.
Yeah. Now, did any of your toys ever accidentally hurt you?
I'm certain that they did. I remember having Mega Blocks at my grandma's my great grandparents, and then subsequently my grandma's house in the basement. And those have since moved to our house. Some of those Mega Blocks. So I do remember those, enjoying that. And then I remember, of course, Hot Wheels. Like my my boy cousins and stuff at my grandparents would have like these Hot Wheel tracks and I mean all sorts of stuff. And they were fun, like looking at them and all the colors and stuff. So did any of them hurt me? I mean, I'm sure I got hit in the face with one. Our trampoline hurt me a million times. If you're considering a trampoline a toy, I mean, I don't know if that's really a good definition of a toy.
Yeah.
But
definitely a recreational.
Spent a lot of time on my trampoline and definitely hurt myself doing tricks and having multiple people and getting double bounced and then, flailing in the air and landing.
Remember when your sister went through it this summer?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. I do. I remember that. And we even were saying like, oh, gosh. And these trampolines that we've grown up with, I mean, literally.
They're real trampolines, not like.
They're real. They're rectangle, right? They're bouncy and there's
the springs
tons
about
of springs.
twice as big or long.
The beds have been remade multiple times, but these beds, I mean, they stay out all year long, all winter, and these are Canadian winters. And so you could just kind of feel like it was coming.
To the end of its life.
So I've actually witnessed.
It was impressive. She just turned 36 and she told us all, I can still do a backflip.
Yeah.
And she did a backflip and she landed it, only she just kept going right through the trampoline.
Yeah. Luckily, she didn't hurt herself at all, which it could have been really
stopped her
bad.
enough that it broke her fall.
I've witnessed that break multiple times, the trampoline.
Excuse me.
So, I mean, I guess I did hurt myself on that.
I can't think of any particular toys that have ever gotten me either. Like, I'm sure I got hit in the eye with a Nerf gun or something.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
I think it could be serious.
Oh, there's Ethne's phone again. Not phone, watch. Nonstop,
if you think it could be serious. What the heck?
Getting shot in the eye by a Nerf gun.
I don't know. So weird.
'Tis the season. It's Halloween.
I guess
She has
so.
a possessed phone.
Possessed
Watch.
Apple
Watch.
Yeah.
So it's like a phone.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk about toys that have been recalled
Oh.
because of their dangerous qualities. And I think you'll be shocked how many of them we own currently.
Oh, I believe there's so many. And whatever. I have my own opinions on
Well, some of them you're going
the
to be
stupidness of humans.
Right. So some of these you're going to say, oh, that makes sense that was recalled. Other ones you're just like, I mean, I could have told you that would happen when you signed up and bought the toy.
Yeah. So, okay, well, this sounds like fun.
Yeah. So the first one we're going to talk about is from Canada.
Nice.
Yeah, a Canadian company by the name of Spin Master made this toy called Bindies.
Oh, never heard of them.
Me either. They were also marketed as Aquadots.
Never heard of those.
Which I don't know if I have. So this is actually just in 2007. So you and I were in college, probably not playing with a lot of toys at that point.
Yeah.
But we didn't have kids either.
Yeah.
So this one might have went right kind of in the window of no toys in our house.
Yeah.
But these things are actually pretty cool. So they're small little colored beads that you can make designs, patterns, pictures with, much like, what are they called? The ones we do with the iron. Perler beads.
Melty beads?
So those are, we call them melty beads. Same concept, except with perler beads, you then have to put an iron on them, and they melt together, and it sticks and makes whatever design you made. So Aquadots, or Bindies, were the same concept, except after you made your design, all you had to do was get it wet. And they would fuse together.
That's kind of cool.
And then once it dried, you could take it off of the platform, and then you had your thing.
Cool.
So it was essentially like perler beads, but without having to, like, we have a big iron stain burn mark in our playroom where one of the kids put a hot iron while trying to do perler beads.
I think it fell down.
Either way.
Yeah.
It's iron shaped, melted.
Right into the
Yeah.
reader bench.
So this was very popular. It actually won the Toy of the Year in Australia in
That's
2007 because of its safety.
They sound fun.
Yeah. So how could something like this cause any harm?
People probably put them in their mouths or something.
Well, people put everything in their mouths, but in 2007, there started being reports of children being hospitalized from playing with them. And it turned out that children who ate them, because little kids do that, right? Sometimes would become unconscious. They would have seizures.
There's some sort of ingredient in
or
it.
possibly even falling into a coma.
Oh, geez.
Yeah. And so it was recalled after all these reports of hospitalizations, but the question was, what was happening? Like, why all of a sudden was this going on? And it turned out that there was a factory in Shenzhen, China, that they would ship some of these to be manufactured, that had changed one of the chemicals to make it cheaper.
Of course.
And that cheaper chemical was an active sedative.
Oh.
And so when the kids ate them and it was metabolized, it wasn't the date rape drug, but it was essentially the date rape drug.
Wow.
So it was like kids were getting roofies.
Wow.
When they would eat this toy of the year. Well,
I mean, they shouldn't be eating it, one.
No.
But two, I mean, that's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder if China knew that this was a sedative.
Yeah, I don't know.
And they just don't care? Or they really just didn't know the combination of these, chemicals would make it a sedative kind of thing?
Right.
Interesting.
I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking.
So it wasn't all of the aqua dots. It was only ones that were made in
that
these
had
certain...
gone back.
Right.
Interesting.
And so obviously they recalled them because they didn't want kids, having seizures and stuff.
Well, of course.
But they also were worried, kind of on the funnier flip side, that, stoners and stuff would purposely go out and buy them to try to get high off of them.
Or not even, other people might use them on other people somehow. Yeah. I don't know how you can give that, just sneak that into someone's mouth, but yeah. Interesting.
You slip it into their drink. Here's a toy.
It coagulates together. That's just weird. Yeah, when you were saying like water kind of made them stick together or whatever, I was thinking of those beads. They're really, really teeny tiny, and then you add water and they get bigger.
Like, I can't think of what you're talking about.
Those teeny tiny little beads, and then they turn, when you put them in water, they get bigger, and then you shoot them out the gun. You can.
Oh, like Orbeez.
Yeah, Orbeez. That's the word. Like, I know they don't stick together, but like kind of the concept made me think of Orbeez, which are cool too.
Orbeez are cool.
I like that you can dehydrate them and rehydrate them. Like they just
blow my mind.
They're pretty cool.
Yeah. You know what toy this made me think of that I loved as a kid? We buy from the dollar store. They looked like pills, and you'd put them in the bathtub with you, and they were sponges.
Like a dinosaur.
Yeah. Oh, man. I love those things.
You've definitely bought those for our kids.
Yeah. I want to buy some now for them.
Well,
I don't think Oaksy's ever.
Yeah, he has.
Has he?
Yeah. And I bought those big giant.
Those are cool too. Those are the other things. So you bought those at Daiso?
I bought those at Daiso, the Japanese store in Seattle.
So they're just the kind of toys.
Huge.
Yeah.
They're teeny, and it was like a stingray. And it got like 10 times the size.
It looked like one of those things from Alien.
And then what was like a octopus? Or what was the other one? Squid? I can't remember, but they were cool, and they got
real
huge,
big.
So, yeah, no, the capsules are definitely still around, and the kids have definitely had them. They've had fun in the tub with them.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's our first toy.
All right.
Aqua Dots. Bindies. They're essentially roofies.
Yeah.
But not all the things we're going to talk about are as dangerous
good.
as kids getting illicit drugs.
Yeah, that's good.
So the next one we're going to do is 1996.
Okay.
Cabbage Patch Snack Time Kids.
Okay.
So you had a Cabbage Patch doll.
Oh, yeah. They're cute little faces. And...
Sure, I had a Cabbage Patch doll.
Yeah, they're cute.
So this one was a newer version. So Cabbage Patches were like probably 70s and 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So this one was 96. So this one was really unique in the fact that this Cabbage Patch Kid could eat plastic snacks. Like it came with French fries and carrots, and you would just stick them next to its mouth, and it would chew them and eat them.
Okay.
Which is pretty cool. So inside its mouth, it had these mechanical rollers that would automatically pull the food in, and then it would go out and do it. All the dolls had a backpack on, and then it would go into the backpack, and you could take it out and do it again. But what made these dolls really, really neat is they were very, very lifelike. So they had no on and off switch. There were no batteries. they just came out ready to
eat. Weird.
And they were really very popular, very cool. The commercial looked really fun.
Do you remember Tickle Me Elmo?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the craziest phenomenon.
That was
so bizarre.
I wonder if that's what inspired that movie Jingle All the Way.
Probably.
Because I feel like that was like roughly the same timeline.
I wonder if the time frame is slightly after Tickle Me Elmo.
Were any of your little
ridiculous.
sisters into it? So I'm the youngest, and I missed. Like I was too old for Tickle Me Elmo, and I was never a big Sesame Street person.
I don't think so. I don't remember anyone waiting in lines or doing any of that. I remember talking about it, but I don't think we were in that stage. Thank goodness. I don't know what happened to the world, but oh my.
Our oldest daughter liked Elmo's World, like that show. We had some on DVD.
Our little kids, and even their second, and they would sing na na na.
Right, but I don't remember ever really being Sesame Street people, and I definitely wasn't growing up.
I mean, I liked Sesame Street growing up. It's been around forever. I liked it.
I remember Eureka's Castle. Remember Eureka's Castle? No, did you have that one in Canada?
I don't know what that is.
No, it was like Sesame Street, kind of puppets and non-puppets. And
no, definitely don't know.
I think it was. Maybe I'm confusing that with the puppets from Mr. Rogers. I can't remember.
I remember Mr. Rogers, but anyway, okay, so it was very lifelike. Sorry, we tangent. We talked about how it has these rollers. You don't have to turn it on and off. So, okay.
Mm-hmm. Can you envision any problem with said doll?
Yeah, it's going to start eating random things.
Mm-hmm.
Like
once it starts eating, there's no mechanism in it to stop eating. As long as you keep inserting things into its mouth, it keeps going. And so when you have little girls who are playing with said doll, and many of these little girls have long hair.
Oh my gosh.
The doll would accidentally bite its hair and then just keep going and going and going.
Ouch.
Yeah. And it won't stop.
That's terrifying.
That was the most frequent issue. Is girls with hair get too close to its mouth.
Yeah.
And it was like this little satanic toy and would just start chomping away.
Yeah, this is delicious.
And eat and eat and eat. And so, I mean, that's like life or death.
No, but still scary.
But it was very scary, and it was painful, and you had some funny haircuts.
Yeah.
So that was one thing. Another issue is other kids would get their fingers stuck in there. And then the little Cabbage Patch Chucky doll
was trying
to eating their fingers.
Trying to eat your finger.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But I don't think anything like super bad ever happened.
Yeah.
Like no one ever lost a finger or anything. But again, with no off switch, no batteries you could quickly pop open and take
hilarious.
Out to make it lifelike, then there was no easy way to stop. So it'd be a lot of prying and a lot of ouchy fingers. And I'm sure these kids are, the PTSD from being attacked by your doll.
Yeah, that's legit.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay.
So they got reports of about 100 different incidents. And at that point, the Consumer Product Safety Commission worked with Mattel, and they did a voluntary recall of about 500,000 for these dolls.
My goodness, that's a lot.
Offering full refunds.
Wow.
So I don't know how much these dolls cost. $30?
Yeah.
And 500,000 of them? Times them, it's $15 million. Did I do that math right?
I don't know, but that's right. A lot.
Yeah, so it's a big deal for Mattel. Luckily, they own
everything.
Yeah.
Like Disney.
Well, they don't own Disney, but yes.
No,
I see what you're saying.
Disney.
Yes.
Disney owns a lot of everything.
General Electric, Pepsi, Disney. Yeah, they pretty much own the world.
Yeah.
And BlackRock. So.
Okay.
Next one.
Okay.
PollyPocket.
Oh, yeah. Choking.
No.
Well,
I mean, I can't believe that PollyPocket was ever, even as a little kid.
Oh, they were so cute.
Right, but I can't believe there ever was a toy that was that small that was allowed to be a toy.
Oh, really?
Because of choking hazards. Like, even as a small kid, because I had a cousin who's a year and a half younger than me or so. She had a ton of Polly Pockets.
But I mean, if you think about it, Legos have small, tiny pieces.
I guess that's true.
The Polly Pockets were so cute.
I had a bunch of Micro Machines.
Yeah, Micro Machines.
Love the Micro Machines.
Yeah, those are cute. I remember those.
So yeah, Polly Pocket was super popular, super huge. And it wasn't actually phase 1 of Polly Pocket that was a problem. It was much like the Cabbage Patch Kids, a later on version. I'm sure kids did choke and stuff, but
yeah,
kind of comes with the territory of
right.
small things, right? Do you ever have any Polly Pockets?
No.
No.
I think my sisters did.
I actually feel like you're too old. Because I feel like
Yeah.
Like
I feel like I'm too old.
Yeah. So there was in the early 2000s, a company by the name of Mattel. You ever heard of them?
We just talked about
Yeah, we just talked about them. So it's funny. They actually didn't own Cabbage Patch or Polly Pocket originally. They bought both of those brands.
Like everything else.
Mm-hmm. They decided to come up with a new version of Polly Pocket that could change accessories really easily. Because if Polly Pocket is out working her garden and then has a hot date later that night, like you need to change your outfit.
Yeah, it's like, did they do pinchy dresses?
No, because these things are like a centimeter tall.
Oh, well,
the dexterity needed to change Polly's clothes. That is an engineering, landmine.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
I don't know.
So what they came up with, almost like Lego, kind of. So they had these really strong magnets inside of Polly Pocket's arms and legs. So you could pop them off and then put them onto new outfits. So you could take her head off and her limbs, put them on a different outfit, and it's like she changed. But they were pretty powerful little magnets inside of little Polly. And so, they were called neodymium magnets, which, as we all know, are very powerful.
I mean, yeah, we all know.
We all know that.
Yeah.
That's common knowledge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
No,
I've never heard.
For
of
anyone
those
else
magnets.
out there, yeah, for anyone else out there, neither of us have heard of those magnets, but
no.
You could look them up.
But they're powerful.
They're powerful,
and so you could detach them and then eat them, not on purpose. I mean, I guess you could on purpose, but kids would swallow them. Now, generally speaking, swallowing a magnet. Well, let's take a step back here. Swallowing small things isn't the end of the world. Even swallowing things like earbuds, your body can pass.
We know this. Firsthand.
Yes.
Yes.
So a small little arm, like a Lego arm, like that size thing, not a big deal. The problem is
the magnet.
A magnet.
Mm-hmm.
And really the problem is multiple magnets. So what kind of things can you envision problems arising from multiple magnets being swallowed?
Well, they stick together.
They stick together.
Yeah.
And when you have really powerful magnets, they can stick together in the intestines, but not when they're next to each other.
Yeah, like on opposite sides of the squishy
Yeah, so they can literally cause twists, perforations, blockages.
That's terrible.
Because they can, essentially tie up your intestines in knots almost because they're moving, trying to get together.
Oh, geez.
And lo and behold, that's what happened.
That's a bad one.
Yeah, so you'd have intestinal perforations where the magnets would pinch and tear the intestines, which isn't good.
No.
You would have bowel obstructions where, it would pinch it off and then you can't pass anything. So kids would be vomiting and, all these kind of nasty things.
Jeez.
Or sometimes even you pinch it so badly that it loses blood supply and actually necrosis and dies.
Ooh.
Chunks of the intestine.
How is this one not worse than the first one?
I'm not saying it's not worse.
Oh.
You can say it's worse.
Ugh.
This is worse, Ethne.
Yeah. This is worse than the first one.
I'd rather get roofied than my intestines tied in knots and dying because of magnets.
Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. So there were at least 4 cases of children needing emergency surgery to remove parts of their intestines. And so they recalled poor little Polly.
Only magnetic Polly.
Only magnetic Polly Pockets, but they had to recall almost 4.5 million play sets.
Holy wow.
Yeah.
Holy
Which is only like a box worth because they're so little. But
they're not that little.
But it did become, it was a big issue.
That's a big issue.
At 4.5 million,
That's a lot.
Probably worth more than the $15 million that
I mean, I
Cabbage
would guess
Patch was,
so.
because each one of those is probably like $10 to $20 a pop.
Yeah, I would guess so.
But there are other toys that have had similar issues because of magnets. So there's various different kinds of magnetic building sets, which we own.
Yeah, magniformers.
Like magniformers. Now, I don't know if magniformers specifically has strong enough magnets.
Even if they did, they're huge.
Right.
You can't really be swallowing those.
But if you broke one, like there's magnet strips in there, right?
But they're pretty durable.
They're pretty durable.
I mean, you'd have...
But that's the thing that gets me with some of these things. Like, what's the situation in which... Like, there's no way you could ever foresee all of the ways one could possibly eat your toy.
No.
Like PollyPocket, sure. There's small little parts that you're supposed to be taking off. That makes sense. But like, what if a car runs over a magniformer and then a 3-year-old walks out there and eats the magnet? It's like, you can't control that, right?
Right, but I don't think that scenario is up for recall, right? I'm sure these things happen, but if there's like one incident, that's like kind of unheard of. To break a magniformer, it has to be deliberate or something like that. I mean, you can't just break them.
This is very true.
So
I guess you could probably have, like, I'm sure people try to sue and stuff, but it probably doesn't go anywhere.
Well, you can buy really strong, tiny magnets.
It's true.
Like just straight up magnets.
Like when I was trying to rig the dog door.
Yeah.
Those are powerful little magnets.
So, I mean,
I tried to rig our dog door so that the dog, who's like 85, 90 pounds, is strong enough to come through, but the cats weren't strong enough. But it didn't work.
No. They're pretty tenacious.
Yeah.
Little critters.
I saw it on YouTube, and it worked for that guy, but his cat was lazy.
Yeah. Our cats are not lazy.
No. And then also buckyballs, which I can't envision, but I've heard that name.
I don't know.
That one's only in 2012. So a more recent, I don't know if it's like a fidgety thing that magnetic balls that stick together. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know.
But
interesting.
So they were also recalled due to kids
Just eating them. That's too bad.
Okay, so this next one's pretty brilliant. Jarts. You ever heard of jarts?
Is it like a play on darts?
It is a play on darts.
Okay, not sharts?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't think anyone has ever monetized that.
They should.
Yeah. The game of sharts. How does that work?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about it.
No. Jarts were
Javelin
lawn darts.
Oh.
Javelin darts, exactly. So they were these giant, oversized darts with a weighted, sharp metal tip.
Yeah, I mean, sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Designed to be thrown.
That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Our friends were over playing games with us, and they showed us a real javelin. He is a X-ray technician.
Yeah.
Is it
but he works in the ER.
Yeah, he works in the ER, so he sees all sorts of stuff. Anyway, this kid thought that he could run with the javelin, but
as his friend threw it.
Yes, decided to run in front of the javelin, and
I mean, what are the odds?
It pierced his leg,
Right
through his femur. Well, not through his femur, but like that area, upper thigh.
His thigh.
But it missed all the major arteries, which is pretty impressive.
And bone.
Yeah, and bone. I mean, it just went straight. That's crazy. So anyway, this is kind of sounding like the same
quad,
thing.
much.
The jart.
The jart, yeah.
It's like a mini version of the javelin. Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, but this is one of those ones where it's like, okay, yeah. So I give you a ring. It's a big ring. And you walk 10 feet over there. And I have a big ring. And I'm trying to throw my giant darts at your ring. And you're throwing it at my ring. I can see potential problems here.
But I mean, if you treat it kind of like a weapon safety, everyone's behind the other person and you're all going the same direction. It's just like if you do bow and arrow,
True.
Like
the difference I'm 100% with you.
It's how they market it, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is marketed as a toy.
Yeah, that's also a big component.
I mean, if we
Even
gave
darts
these
can
to
be
our
really
children,
ouchy.
there would be serious problems.
But I would, as a parent, treat them as a weapon. Even if I saw them, I would treat them as, this has the potential to do damage to somebody. We need to treat them, like a weapon. Whatever kind of weapon you want.
Well, these came out
airsoft,
in the mid-'80s when parents didn't parent. So
yeah.
now they parent too much.
Oh, some do. There's
Yeah.
also many that don't parent.
Well, that's true.
So
Differently than
yes,
our
back in
parents
that-
didn't parent because they were working and doing life.
Yeah. Other parents are not parenting because they're enjoying life
Because they're still 15 in their brains.
and enjoying life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made me think of the thing you showed me the other day.
What did I show
The
you?
GoFundMe.
Oh.
But I won't.
Oh
I won't
man.
bring that up here.
Yes.
But it was a really funny GoFundMe. Like
kind of sad.
sad, but kind of ridiculous at the same time. Like, oh, someone's asking for money for that.
Yeah.
The way it was framed was pretty funny.
Pretty yeah.
So anyways, jarts were a problem.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you that right from having children. I mean, anyone who has children would know
Right.
this.
Like I can't imagine the
Thought processing.
like the marketing
Yeah.
room or the team that came up with this,
Yeah.
and not one person being like, I got a 12-year-old son, he's gonna kill somebody.
Yeah. Like not on purpose,
Right.
but they're just going to be,
The neighbor's cat's gonna die.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The dog.
Yeah. But because it's impossible to foresee issues when you give kids heavy, large, sharp objects and ask them to throw them at each other.
But they're not supposed to throw them at each other, right?
Not at the person, but in the direction of...
That's how you're supposed to play the game.
I actually don't know. I think you're supposed to... I think it's just one
Yeah.
ring far.
That makes more
And
sense.
everyone's throwing at the
Yeah.
one.
That makes more sense.
But no one would actually do that.
Well, I would.
We would play like dodgeball or something with them.
No,
Like,
you
run and I'm going to throw this.
No, you would not.
What was the first thing our son did today when our other son was on the scooter? Or maybe it was yesterday.
I have no idea.
One son took off down the driveway on the scooter. The other one's like, I'm going to see how close I can throw
that
this
was
ball
today.
without hitting you.
Hitting with the tennis ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like instantly. Like, oh, you're moving. I have a ball in my hand. I'm going to throw it
You're
at
a
you.
moving target.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're playing it like it's darts, the way you're supposed to play darts, there's a central target.
It's
You
true.
all are throwing
It's
at the same
true.
target. Like,
If you're playing tennis the way you're supposed to play with the tennis ball.
Well, nobody plays with a tennis ball. Just that way. I mean, it's like a dog's
Well,
favorite ball.
I hate to tell you this. A lot of people didn't play jarts the right way.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Well, actually, I think they probably played them the right way. They just had issues. So, they were banned in 1988. Up to that point, and I don't know how long they were around prior to that, there were 6,100 injuries reported and associated
Oh,
with them.
geez, that's a lot. I don't know how they didn't recall
Most
them
of those
sooner.
involving children under the age of 15. But in 1987, tragically, a 7-year-old girl was killed.
Literally killed?
Yeah.
Oh my
She got
god.
hit in the head by a lawn dart.
And it actually,
Mm-hmm.
whoa. That's terrible.
It is terrible. And so after that, which was actually the third confirmed fatality by jarts, but that was like the 7-year-old girl made the news and kind of pushed.
But that was the third fatality?
Third fatality by the jart.
What in the world?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And so they were recalled and banned. Now, they did try to bring them back right after that, just changing how they marketed them from a toy to a, recreational game for adults or so, instead of it being in the toy aisle, it was now in the
sports
aisle,
yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
With,
That is safer.
whatever. I'm trying to think which games. Cornhole.
Right. Any of those games. Can Jam, Bottle
those kind of
Bash. Yeah. That makes more sense.
But that didn't last long either.
No.
And then they were completely banned.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay.
but it was funny because I thought, like, well, I've seen lawn darts before. Like, you see them for sale at Fred Meyer and stuff.
I don't think I really have.
So I went and looked on Amazon to try to buy some. And they do exist. Jarts, the brand, is still there.
Mm.
But they are plastic and they are very rounded. It is a very different.
Yeah.
They're not the cool, big
Right.
death spears
Obviously.
that they used to be.
Because if it can kill somebody, then it's definitely fabricated wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I could see it like in the 1960s being like, hey, here's some scrap metal from old World War II bombs. We're going to turn it into a javelin toy.
Mm.
And just being like the heaviest, giant thing ever.
Sounds terrible.
So like I said, jarts are still around. And I looked at a box of them. They're pretty spendy. But in huge letters on the front, it says rounded tip. So
That's good.
yeah, they've learned.
And they're pretty spendy, huh? That's
I mean,
funny.
they're not like crazy spendy. They're like $40 for a non-javelin dart.
Yeah.
It's like kid scissors,
Right. Yeah. Huh? Yeah.
All right, next. Sky dancers. You ever heard of sky dancers?
No, I've never heard of any of these.
You've never heard of Cabbage Patch Kids?
Well, okay. Sure. I've never seen I've heard of a normal Cabbage Patch Kid, but I've never heard or seen of the mouth-eating one or whatever.
The demonic one that eats your child.
And even the magnetic PollyPocket. I've heard of PollyPocket, the original, and I've seen them and played with them, but I've never seen the magnetic one.
I had not either.
Yeah, so none of these have been something I've ever seen so far.
Okay, so next are sky dancers.
Excuse me. Sky dancers sound like floating fairies.
That's exactly what they are. So they're essentially like, our kids have this exact same toy, but they're branded for boys. It's like the helicopter. You pull the string and they spin their little arms.
It's an elastic.
Yeah.
Right? And they pull it back and they shoot up in the sky and they light up.
So it's not like the elastic one. It's more like a ripcord.
Oh, pull it and then it spins them up. Okay. We've also had those too.
So these are fairies with foam wings.
Oh, it sounds like Fiona would have left them when she was little.
I'm sure she would have.
Yeah.
They were very popular. So popular that there was a cartoon TV series made.
Oh. But they don't sound dangerous.
They don't sound dangerous at all.
So I can't imagine why they need to be recalled.
Every single dollar store across America has a boys version of this in some cheapo plastic, helicopter or missile.
So what could be the problem with these then?
So this is one of those funny ones that I feel like it is more the operator than the toy. So yeah, I mean, it was exactly what you would think. Like, oh, I spun it and it flew over and hit my little sister in the face.
Sure.
Kind of thing. But it was like death by a million paper cuts.
Oh.
So they had
weird. Like the way the wings were made, where like they would give you paper cuts?
No, not literal paper cuts. I just mean they had so many reports of like small injuries that kept stacking up. But they were like stupid injuries, like cut my forehead because my sky dancer went the wrong direction. Well,
yeah, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah, it is kind of dumb
because those things are a little wild. Yeah,
I mean, they did have some people that had reported temporary blindness.
Wow,
because they got hit in the eye. But I'm like, did you really have temporary blindness, or were you like
your eye was
swollen or watery? Yeah.
Okay.
A couple of cases where people needed stitches.
Wow. The heck is happening?
Well, there's some angry sky dancers out there.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, the toy manufacturer Galoob, who made the sky dancer, June 2000, recalled about 10 million of them.
Wow.
But I thought that was pretty lame. Because it wasn't like they would explode upon impact or
that one's,
carried some kind of deadly disease.
That one is definitely kind of lame.
Yeah, but they recalled them.
Sky
Lots of
dancers,
them.
huh?
All right, number 10. We only got 2 more, I think.
Okay. Sounds perfect.
We have both of these in our home currently. The last 2.
Okay.
Easy bake oven.
Oh, yeah. Love it. I had one when I was a kid. They're so fun.
So fun. So tell us real briefly then, what is the heating element in an easy bake oven? How do they work?
I believe it's a light bulb.
It's just a light bulb, exactly. So it works because you're making such small quantities that the light bulb's hot enough to cook said cake or whatever.
Yeah, because it's so tiny.
I mean, they're like a centimeter tall.
Yeah.
So in 2006, Hasbro released a new version of the Easy Bake Oven that had an actual electric heating element instead of the light bulb.
Okay.
Now, these ones looked different than the traditional Easy Bake Oven. So traditionally, you would stick your little baking tray into one side, let it cook, and then you would have to push it out the far side.
And then scoop it up.
Yeah. So these ones looked like an oven with like a stove range on top. So they were front loading, but there was no backside. Like you came in and out the same way.
Okay.
So they didn't look like our Easy Bake Oven. Not the same.
Sounds like it would be way better.
Yeah. Well, it had, like I said, an actual heating element.
Yeah.
But there was one significant safety hazard, and that was the oven's front loading door had an opening that allowed children's hands and fingers to get trapped inside the heating chamber.
Oh.
You know, they'd reach in to try to grab, their cake. Not that they should have done that. You're supposed to use the little pink spatula thing. But if a kid did, sometimes their finger would get stuck.
Oh, weird.
But because you don't have a light bulb in there, it's an actual heating element, you can really, really burn your finger.
Wow.
And so that's what happened.
I definitely never had this version of one.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to have this version.
No, we didn't.
This is the torture device method.
Gotcha.
Version.
This was 2006?
Yes.
So they must have tried it and then gone back to the original.
Because ours is after 2006. But it looks like a 1960s.
Well, it's the same style as
the old school ones.
Slightly different than what I had, but yeah.
Yeah, a little sleeker and more modern.
Yeah, but
generally speaking.
I wonder how long they had that design.
I don't think very long. So they had
kids report some burns.
249.
Wow.
77 of which were severe burns.
Wow.
Yeah.
My goodness.
We're talking like 3rd-degree burns.
Wow. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. That's legit.
Which is the most severe.
Yeah.
And there was one case where a poor little 5-year-old girl actually had to have her finger partially amputated.
What? What are these? How do you get to that point? I mean, like, aren't you still doing them in the kitchen around your mom's kind of just around? Or like, are you at home alone?
I'm not going to judge.
I mean, I'm
not judge. That's not the word. I'm not going to guess at what parent. Like, some of these kids, this might have been their babysitter. Like,
sure,
I'm going to be gone for a half an hour. Make yourself a cake and watch.
The Easy Bake Oven is the babysitter.
Right.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess maybe that makes me feel better, but I still am like, legit?
I mean, if you look at the Easy Bake Oven, it was pretty cheap plastic. Like if my kid's finger got stuck, now it could burn them for sure. Like in the amount of time I can get your finger out of it. But I'm pretty sure I could get your finger out of the oven made of cheap plastic.
Yeah, it's just weird. I'm like,
with like a hammer or a screwdriver, like just prying it.
But to get to the point of amputation, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I have to I want to see it almost, this version. Like, how would that be possible?
Yeah.
Even if you're on your own. I mean, how are you getting stuck in there? Anyway, okay.
So they had to recall about 2 million of those ovens.
Wow.
And then I think they went back to the other design.
And those aren't cheap. I mean, if you buy a brand new one, they're like $50.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in 2006, they would have been 40, 45,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a lot of money for them.
A lot of money.
Well, I mean, I'm glad they went back to the old design. There are some things I kind of don't love about that old design, but I'm glad they went back to it by the sounds of things.
The problem with the old design, from my limited experience, I never had one as a kid, you don't know if you're, like, let's say it's a cake, if your cake is done.
You really don't know.
You're just going off the timer. And then you push it through and it's still liquidy and it makes a huge mess all over, like, the door on the other side.
Well, if you've filled it too full, in theory, they want you to follow their little packets and do everything they say, and it shouldn't, in theory, rise above that, and it, whatever.
Yeah, but these recipes are like PollyPocket size.
They also...
It's like 3/4 of a teaspoon of flour.
Right. They also always seem to take way longer than they say.
You are heating with a light bulb.
So, yeah. But anyway,
so the one with the heating element cooked much smoother and faster, but it might cause you 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah,
so that's the
sure
trade-off.
Yeah. Hence, just a real oven.
Yeah.
At that point, right?
Yeah, full-size cakes are better anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
In my opinion.
Instead of 3 bites. But our kids had many fun times making easy bakes.
And they were always really good.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
So, okay.
All right, last one.
We don't actually have our easy bake anymore.
No?
No.
It went to
Rosie.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely have this one. Multiple of them. Hoverboards.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they are kind of a recipe for disaster. They make me nervous.
Yeah. So, if you're not familiar with what a hoverboard is, not the cool ones from Back to the Future.
No.
I actually believe it's Back to the Future 2. Either way.
I kind of want to get rid of them.
Well, I don't think anyone would notice, except for maybe one child.
Yeah.
But, so they're these 2-wheeled, self-balancing cart thing. I don't know how to show
but
it.
you could wipe out so bad. And
so you lean forward, they go forward, you kind of lean back, they stop.
Yeah.
Lean around, they spin.
And the kids are pretty good at them.
Yeah.
But I can see how if you wiped out on those, you could really... I mean, it's like any board like that. I mean, a skateboard, longboard, all of those kind of things have the potential to have very serious injuries. I do know somebody who was paralyzed in a longboarding incident.
But not a hoverboard, is it?
No, but...
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, it's the same thing. It's all based on weight and, so.
Well, the main problem with the hoverboards had nothing to do with falling off of them.
Oh.
It had to do with their lithium-ion batteries.
Oh.
And because they became popular. And, like, I remember the first time you and I ever saw one. We were in our old surgeon's house. And his kids had some. And it was oh my goodness, these things are so amazing.
That's true. I remember
But they were really expensive, right?
And crack-a-ma.
Yeah. But then with time, as they
really
blew
cheap.
up, they became really cheap because all sorts of Chinese companies were making them. Some of these Chinese companies were cutting corners on the electronic components, chiefly the expensive lithium-ion batteries in them and the charging systems. And these batteries, the liquid inside a lithium-ion battery is extremely flammable.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so you started having spontaneous
combustion.
Yep, all over the place.
Wow. That's interesting.
So there were a few houses in the
before.
U.S. that caught on fire and burned down.
Oof, dang.
Because they just, most of the time it came from leaving them plugged in. They would overheat, overcharge, and the batteries would just boom, go. And
that makes me very nervous about ours.
Yeah, as it should.
Like they need to stay outside or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and so there were multiple houses that were lost. Other people who didn't lose their whole house, but they had fires where the fire department had to come put them out. Luckily, no one died in any of the house fires.
Yeah.
Other reports of people just like driving on them and then just between their legs burst into flames.
It's so crazy.
Yeah. And so in 2015, there's a family that had their home lost, and then another one in 2016 in Tennessee. Oh, I'm sorry. In 2017, a 3-year-old girl did pass away when her house caught on fire from a crappy hoverboard.
Oh, that's...
And our hoverboards are crappy hoverboards. They're not
Yeah.
like real high quality ones.
No,
I'm
they're
not
not.
really like cheap ones, but they're not.
No, we got them on Black Friday sales. I think they were actually pretty decent ones. They were just a good price when we got them because
That
they were
could
Black
be.
Friday sales. Yeah.
But so it became such a problem where even like the FAA banned them from being on any kind of airplane because
Was
they might
it
spontaneously.
specifically a certain brand or?
So I didn't write it down here. There were, if
Certain
you
brands.
like Wikipedia, there's about 10 brands that you'll see that were all
Now
recalled.
I'm so curious. Is it one of ours?
I don't know.
Ooh.
I didn't look.
Nah. I want to get rid of them. I don't
And
even want to
so-
know.
But yeah, it's not the actual falling
only-
off of them.
Right. I'm surprised about that because I would have guessed the falling off. The only fun thing about them, though, is that one of our kids has like an attachment to it that turns it into a go-kart. And that's legit fun. Like, I, as a mom, I'm not nervous at all about the go-kart and falling, right? You're sitting down, there's a seat. The go-kart is like an attachment, so it's like the back wheels and you control it. Anyway, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so I like that. I like that element, but now knowing they can spontaneously combust, I'm like, I don't know. But we have this attachment now, this go-kart attachment, so it's kind of like,
Yeah, that'd be a catch on fire and burn your butt.
yeah,
And they go, right? Because it's not like start smoking and
right.
little flame.
They would
It's
go
like, boom. Yeah,
Yeah. Ooh.
very fast.
We need to look up the brands.
We do.
Yeah.
So in 2016, like I said, there were about 500,000 of them were recalled from 10 different companies.
The thing is, though, if any of ours were recalled, I mean, we got ours after that point.
That's true. We got them way after 2016.
We would not know about a recall because I don't know how people know about recalls. Because how many people actually like register their toys?
The only thing that I know about recalls are Costco is very good about letting you know.
Costco's very good. But you have to be a member of Costco,
Right.
and Costco
You're
has your
paying
information,
for
right?
this
And
service,
so
right?
they know how to contact you.
Mm-hmm.
But like I buy a toy from Target, unless I do that little registration card,
Which I've never done in my life.
right. I am never going to know unless for some reason, like if I was a member of Target, because I do have like a red card, and then they did get word of a severe, safety issue. Could they somehow reach out to me via my red card? But like, would they even take the time to do it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I have no idea.
We've never been told. So either we have safe things or no, they would not.
Well, because like, with your car, they let you know, or at the grocery store or, a department store, sometimes you can walk in and you can see there's
That's
like
true.
a board of all the recalls. But like, I mean, I've never really stopped and looked at those. I know they're very good about that with like baby equipment and baby things. If you
They're
go to
really
like
good
a
with baby. I
baby
do remember
store,
that
they're
when we had
very
little
good
people.
about like recalls on those. And all they're doing is posting them in the store. I mean, it's still your responsibility as a consumer to go in and look at the recalls. But yeah, I would never, ever know about a toy recall, ever.
Which is
And
why our
so-
kids play with dangerous toys.
Apparently. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know if I would consider it dangerous, but it makes me nervous for my whole house, actually. Like, I'm like, okay, now I want to track them. I want to figure out where they all
Right.
are.
So like I said, I think a lot of them were, the main problem was people leaving them plugged in all the time.
Right. Interesting.
So they always had this constant power source going to them.
Yeah, which makes sense, but at the same time, you kind of always want them to be charged, right? So, anyway, okay, well,
Yeah. So
good to know.
be careful out there, everyone, with your toys.
Yeah, be smart.
Be smart.
Yeah.
You gotta watch out. PollyPocket, dangerous. Cabbage Patch Kids, dangerous. Easy
No.
Bake Oven, dangerous. Yeah, these are all girl toys.
No.
Way more dangerous than boy toys.
Okay. Right. Like, that's a true statement. Yeah.
Way more.
Way more.
Alrighty, everybody. I
It
need
is
to go to
time
bed.
for us to go.
So,
If we can manage to sneak in another recording, we will. If we can't, we might have a guest.
I might have a guest co-host next week.
Yeah. We'll have to see how life
Ethne's
works.
leaving me to go to Hawaii to party.
Party.
And she's not taking me. So I forgot about that,
we
though.
we didn't realize that
or I would have pre-recorded with her.
Right, too late. And so I don't know that we're going to be able to do it before
So
I go.
either we have to really tightly squeeze in the recording, which wouldn't be a problem other than I'm not ready to, I don't have anything on
like
the docket.
Script.
Right.
And also the guest will never, of course, be as good as me, but it could be fun.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with a new episode next week.
Yeah.
It's just, it might be Ethne. It might not be. But it won't be me by myself.
Before. No, it won't be him by himself. That wouldn't be too lame.
That wouldn't work very well. So,
all righty.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful night, and we will talk to you in the near future. Goodbye.
Goodbye.